Scorpio Sky, Christopher Daniels, Frankie Zay, collectively known as SoCal Uncensored or
SCU! This is Catch, Hook, and Shoot, the worst podcast I've ever been on. Word.
Welcome to Catch, Hook, and Shoot. Today is Sunday, March the 15th, 2020. I want to thank everybody for listening, watching, and subscribing on YouTube, Podbean, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, any place you get your podcasts. And thank you all for following on social media, on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, Snapchat, LinkedIn. It's at Catch, Hook, Shoot. Make sure you check out patreon.com/catchhookshoot for all your bonus content, and head over to prowrestlingtees.com, and don't just check out the Catch Hook Shoot shirts, check out the shirts from all your favorite independent wrestlers as well. It's been just a crazy week with shows getting canceled and things like that, so support the indie guys, because if they're not working, they're not getting paid, they're not under contracts like WWE guys where they have these guarantees or anything like that. So definitely head over there, support your favorite independent wrestlers, pick up a shirt, pick up whatever kind of merchandise they might have, and support these guys while they're not working because of all the cancellations. So and if you ever want to shoot me an email, it's catchhookshoot@gmail.com. So let's jump right in. It's been just a crazy week, not just for pro wrestling, but in the world in general. So let's kick everything off like we always do with the match of the week. Alright, so this week's match of the week actually comes from Impact. It's been a while since I've said that, but what I'm talking about is Michael Elgin versus Eddie Edwards, and this was the fifth match in a best-of-5 series with these two guys. I'd highly recommend you check out all 5 of these matches, but for this week, match number 5 is the match of the week. Just a fantastic match from two really... Two of the best in-ring competitors that Impact has to offer. These guys just went out there and left everything in the ring. The match ended. The purpose of their best-of-5 series was for the Call Your Shot trophy, which Eddie Edwards had possession of. He won at Bound for Glory, and basically that allows him to, it's kind of like the Money in the Bank briefcase. You can challenge for any title anytime you want, and Elgin had stolen it from him, so there was some back and forth, and eventually they had this best of 5 series to decide who's going to have that Call Your Shot trophy, and they had both already said, if they win this best of 5, they're going to use that championship match to challenge Tessa Blanchard for the world title at Rebellion. This match actually ended in a double finish, both a pinfall and a submission at the same time. Eddie Edwards got the pin on Michael Elgin, but Elgin had Edwards in a submission hold at the time. So right when the referee hit the 3 count, Eddie Edwards started tapping. There was 2 referees out there. One raised Eddie Edwards' hand, one raised Michael Elgin's hand, and eventually Tessa Blanchard came out and said, "Hey, I'll take on both of you at Rebellion for the world title." So it looks like it's going to be a triple threat. So I definitely recommend this match. Elgin and Edwards from this past week on Impact. And definitely, like I said, I would definitely recommend all 5 of these matches because they have all been just spectacular. But this one in particular, I just thought it was a very good match. And even with the kind of schmaz ending, I enjoyed it. So head over there and check that out. And moving right along, let's get right into the next segment of the show here, highlighting the top 3 moments of the week, I guess you could say. And I am talking about the 3 count. Number 1 on the 3 count, finally, the British Bulldog, Davey Boy Smith, going into the WWE Hall of Fame. I know a lot of people happy about this. It is definitely long overdue. And a lot of celebrating going on in the Smith and Hart families over this one. Apparently, his son Davey Boy Smith Jr. will be the one doing the induction whenever that happens. Who knows what's even going on as far as the Hall of Fame and WrestleMania weekend in general. But British Bulldog to be inducted into the Hall of Fame by his son Davey Boy Smith Jr. So yeah, like I said, long overdue. Number 2 on the 3 count, the end of NXT from this past Wednesday. Now, it was held at the Performance Center, and this was before shows started getting canceled or being held without audiences or things like that. This was already planned to have this particular episode at the Performance Center. There was a crowd there, and great show as always from NXT. But this one ended in a huge brawl all over the Performance Center between Tommaso Ciampa and Johnny Gargano, and they're really, really hyping this feud up again. And arguably the two best guys in NXT, and the matches that they've had against each other, I mean, are all match of the year candidates, so they're definitely setting up another one. So if you have not seen NXT from this past week yet, at the very least, check out the last 15 minutes or so, because it was a crazy brawl between these two guys all over the place. And number 3 on the 3 count, mentioned it a couple times already, all kinds of, not just wrestling events, but events in general being canceled or postponed or held without audiences because of the COVID-19 virus that has been declared a pandemic. It's just, it's crazy. I've never seen anything like this. I mean, I understand the logic behind it. They're trying to stop the spread of this virus. It's not paranoia. It's trying to be proactive. It's trying to, like I said, stop or slow down the spread of this virus. And, there's so many people out there saying, oh, so many more people die from this or that or the other thing or whatever. 80% of the people that have this virus recover in just a few days. And, well, that's all fine and good. I'm glad that number of people are able to recover from this. But, at the rate that it's spreading, with the ease that it's spreading, governments and, people in charge of events and arenas and stuff, they're being proactive to not encourage the spread of the virus by having thousands of people gathering in one place at one time. So it's smart. It's and it is what it is. I mean, there's a lot of people complaining about it too. You know what? Just deal with it. I mean, there's nothing you can do about it. And, it's just, like I said, it is what it is. So, like I said, events and sporting events and concerts and all kinds of stuff all over the place just being canceled and postponed, and just it's a crazy time right now. So let's move into the news and rumors for the week here, starting off with some interesting stuff from the Elimination Chamber pay-per-view last week from WWE. We did see an appearance from the Undertaker during the AJ Styles Aleister Black match. Undertaker came out and basically cost AJ the match. So I don't think that was a huge surprise to anybody. We have a new Intercontinental Champion in Sami Zayn. That was a surprise to me. Great for Sami. I mean, he's definitely deserving of it. It's his first ever championship in WWE. Not talking about NXT. Of course, he was the NXT champion, but his first ever championship in WWE. So, about time. Another great match from Elimination Chamber, and this almost was my match of the week, was Daniel Bryan versus Drew Gulak. And Bryan was victorious, and in an interview after the match talked about wanting Drew Gulak's help because he basically said he saw those flaws that Gulak was talking about, that Gulak has been trying to communicate to Bryan's opponents the last couple of weeks and things like that. So Daniel Bryan saying he wants Drew Gulak's help. Interesting there, and we did see Gulak with Bryan on SmackDown this week as well. So interesting little partnership there. And from the Women's Elimination Chamber match, we saw Shayna Baszler basically just decimate everybody else in that Elimination Chamber. Don't think that's too much of a surprise. They're going to build her as that monster heel that, that's just unstoppable going into her match with Becky Lynch at WrestleMania. So, Shayna Baszler with all 5 eliminations in the Elimination Chamber. Moving over to Raw, top of the show, we saw Kevin Owens again get attacked by Seth Rollins and his whole little crew there. Edge made another appearance on Raw, calling out Randy Orton. MVP was in the ring at the time. basically talking about he wants to start a stable. He wants Edge to be the first member of that stable. Edge wasn't having any of it. He hit MVP with a spear, an RKO, and a concerto. Randy Orton then tried to jump in and get Edge from behind. Edge ended up getting the drop on him, quite literally hitting Randy Orton with an RKO. So it was definitely did a lot to build towards that match that I think everybody's expecting with Edge and Randy Orton for WrestleMania. Had AJ Styles calling out The Undertaker in a rather interesting in-ring promo. He basically wasn't calling out The Undertaker. He was calling out Mark Calloway. Called him by name, said a lot of things about his wife, Michelle McCool, and made it very personal. So I'm curious now. The contract signing for this match at WrestleMania between AJ and The Undertaker is supposed to happen tomorrow on Raw, which is going to be at the Performance Center again with no audience, just like SmackDown was on Friday. So I'm curious which Undertaker are we going to see, especially since it's in the Performance Center. You're not going to be able to have the typical Undertaker entrance. So I'm wondering, are we going to see Mark Calloway make an appearance, or are we going to see The Undertaker possibly as the American Badass character, something a little bit closer to the real person, Mark Calloway. So I'm very, very interested to see how that's going to go down tomorrow night on Raw. Moving into NXT, we saw Damian Priest attack Keith Lee, kind of the same way he attacked Dominik Dijakovic, I believe it was last week, attacked him with a nightstick, and Dijakovic came out to help Keith Lee, and after Priest had left the ring and everything, Dijakovic trying to help Keith Lee up, and Keith Lee just grabbed Dijakovic and spirit bombed him right in the middle of the ring. So Keith Lee not playing with anybody right now when it comes to the North American Championship. So I would think this is gonna probably wind up in a triple threat somewhere down the line, probably a takeover if takeover is gonna happen. Also on NXT, both Mia Yim and Tegan Nox have both advanced to the women's ladder match at TakeOver to name the next number one contender. And kind of a weird spot on NXT, we saw Raul Mendoza get kidnapped by two guys in luchador masks outside the Performance Center in the parking lot. Not sure where this one's going. They're obviously trying to start some type of storyline here with Raul Mendoza, so keep an eye on that one, see what's going on. As far as SmackDown, like I said, they held it at the Performance Center on Friday with no audience. Michael Cole was there, Corey Graves was not. You had Triple H sitting in on commentary, which honestly, I thought it was pretty cool. I like Triple H on commentary. He was keeping it very, very lighthearted, and kudos to WWE for still putting the product out even under those circumstances, not being able to have it in an actual arena with an audience or anything like that. And because when you take the audience out of pro wrestling, you definitely lose something very, very important, not just for people watching on TV, but for the wrestlers as well. They're not getting that instant feedback from the live audience. So I'm sure it's a little awkward and just odd for them, but they managed to put on a pretty good show. And Mojo Rawley made an appearance talking about Rob Gronkowski. Of course, rumors been going crazy the last couple of weeks that Gronkowski's getting close to signing a deal with the WWE. And Mojo Rawley basically said Gronk is going to be on SmackDown next week. I would assume that would be from the Performance Center again, considering most arenas around the country are suspending everything for the time being. So I would assume next week's SmackDown will be at the Performance Center again. And we'll have to see what Gronkowski has to say. And if you have not seen SmackDown, the one segment I have to recommend is the end of the show, which was an interview with John Cena with Michael Cole. And during the course of that interview, who would pop up in the crowd, so to speak, but Bray Wyatt. And just a very, very cool promo between the two of them, and ended in a stare down. There was no physical contact, which I thought was great. We see too many brawls break out in stuff like this when it's just supposed to be an interview. So for it to just end with both guys saying what they had to say and then ending in a stare down, that it was a pretty cool ending to SmackDown this past week. All things considered with the changes that had to be made to the show. Some miscellaneous WWE news. It looks like Rezar from the Authors of Pain is going to be out for a while. He apparently suffered a torn bicep on Raw Monday night. Now they haven't said whether or not it's going to require surgery. If it does, that that could put him out up to 6 months. So we'll have to keep an eye on that one. The XFL made the announcement that they're ending their season. No more games will be played, which of course the timing of all this horrible for the XFL because they were in their inaugural season. So I can't help but imagine the XFL as a whole is probably taking quite a hit financially, not being able to finish out their season. So, but they definitely put out a good product, and I think it's going to keep people interested and make them want to come back next season to check it out again. So. But yeah, the XFL, along with pretty much every other sport out there, has either canceled or suspended their the current season because of the COVID-19 virus. It's just it's crazy. And the XFL also announced that a player for the Seattle Dragons, they didn't say who, did test positive for COVID-19, and that he is in isolation, and they're testing everybody in the league is what they're doing, and offering them extended housing, wherever they're at. I would assume in the home city of whatever team they play for, and if they need it, if they choose to self-quarantine and things like that. And the XFL also announced that even though they are ending their season early, they are going to continue to pay their players and everything like that. Everybody's going to get their base salary for that they would have gotten for the remainder of the season. So that's definitely very cool on the part of Vince McMahon and the XFL. So just again something one more thing that's being affected greatly by this virus. It's spreading all over the place. Fox also announced that they've suspended all studio shows, including WWE Backstage. Now, WWE Backstage has not been getting the best of ratings. I think the last I read, the last episode only drew 18,000 viewers, which is terrible for a WWE program. So I would honestly be surprised if once that suspension is over and they do start recording their studio shows again, I would be surprised if WWE Backstage comes back. I really would. But again, we'll have to see. And of course, the biggest question going around this week is, will WrestleMania be canceled? The city of Tampa held a meeting on Thursday and basically said, it's too early to say for sure for them to make that call, but they also kind of threw it back in Vince McMahon's lap and said, well, we're waiting to see what WWE is going to do. What action are they going to take? And if they don't take any action, then we're going to have another meeting next week, and all signs are pointing to WrestleMania at Raymond James Stadium in Tampa being called off. And WWE has put out a statement that they are putting a contingency plan in place in case that does happen. Now, what that contingency plan is, I don't know. I can't see WrestleMania being held from the Performance Center. It just doesn't, that doesn't make any sense. And I can't see them postponing it either. I mean, they have a full schedule of events coming up, so, postponing one event throws their whole yearly calendar out of whack. So I'm very curious to see what's going to happen with this. There was a rumor out there that Saudi Arabia had offered WWE $75 million to move WrestleMania to Riyadh. I don't know if that will happen. I mean, they'd obviously get a huge audience like they do whenever they do one of their Saudi Arabia events like Super Showdown or Crown Jewel. But I don't know. I can't see them moving WrestleMania out of North America. Just on the spur of the moment like that. I mean, you're talking about hundreds and thousands of hours of planning for the particular stadium that they were going to be working in, and to just up and move it on just a couple of weeks' notice, I don't think is possible. So, I don't know. I guess we'll have to find out later on this week what the fate of WrestleMania 36 will be. Moving over to some AEW stuff, we found out who Jake the Snake's client is, and it is Lance Archer. Kind of a surprise to me, because I figured whoever they paired with Jake would be somebody who needed that mouthpiece, and Lance Archer's one. He really doesn't need a mouthpiece. He's a pretty good talker. So a little bit of a surprise that they paired him with Jake. I know I said last week I thought it would have been Brody Lee. So, but we'll have to see how this one works out. I don't hate the pairing. I mean, I love Lance Archer. I love Jake the Snake. Jake is one of my all-time favorites. So, yeah, we'll have to see where exactly they're going with this. I mean, obviously they're going after Cody Rhodes, because Jake has already said they want Cody's piece of the AEW pie. So we'll see. See how Lance Archer fits into all of that. Nick Jackson from the Young Bucks was taken out by the Inner Circle, basically attacked backstage, and they closed an overhead door on his head and his face, and they showed him laid out on the floor with the door pulled down on his head, and he's spitting out blood, and it was pretty graphic scene. And of course, this has implications going into next week, when they're supposed to have the what they're calling the Blood and Guts event, which is the Elite versus the Inner Circle. And yeah, they did explain what the Blood and Guts match is. It's old school War Games rules. 5-on-5 starts off as 1-on-1 for 5 minutes, and every 2 minutes a new competitor enters the ring until all 10 guys are in there, and then the match officially starts, and the only way to win is submission or surrender. And this, takes place inside 2 rings, double cage with a top on it. So it's it's old school War Games, not the NXT version of War Games that can end in a pinfall and that has no top on the cage. So I am very excited to see this one. And AEW basically has said that their next 2 TVs are happening from Daly's Place in Jacksonville with no audience, kind of like SmackDown was this past week, because they have had to pull out of their the arenas that were going to be hosting those next 2 weeks of TV. They've already announced when they'll be making those dates up later on in the year. So just all kinds of crazy stuff going on in pro wrestling. We also saw Bea Priestley make her return on Dynamite this past week in a tag match with Nyla Rose. They were victorious, and then Bea proceeded to attack Nyla after the match, after they won. So basically saying that she wants to be Nyla's next challenger for the AEW Women's World Title. Some more Impact news. They did announce this past week that Chris Bay is going to be making his debut this coming Tuesday on Impact. Pretty sure that episode's already taped, so I know the next couple of weeks of Impact are shouldn't be affected by any of this stuff, because they're already pre-taped. Same thing with MLW. They tape a few weeks at a time, and they just had some more TV tapings this weekend. So I think Impact and MLW should be good for at least the next, I would say, 3 to 4 weeks. But MLW did make the announcement today, as a matter of fact, that they are suspending all live events for 45 days. So basically, their next set of TV tapings doesn't look like it's going to happen. So we'll have to see how that's gonna work with the pre-taped shows like that. So that's pretty much it for news and rumors for this week. So let's find out how all this craziness has been affecting the world of independent wrestling. So for that, I'm going to throw it over to Charlie G, and this is your Indie Cut.
Thank you, Tom. Always happy to be part of Catch, Hook, and Shoot. Hey to wrestling friends, I am Charlie G with your Indie Cut. It was a very busy week of wrestling action, so let's get to it with the EVE Women Behaving Badly show from March the 7th. In the EVE International Title No. 1 Contenders match, Casey defeated Madison Miles. In the EVE International Title match, Sami Zayn retained against Holidead in a solid match. Zoe Lucas defeated Rebel Kinney. Zoe seemed more concerned with the sanitary of the ring and even put Perel on the ropes. Funny spot if you're okay with the jokes nowadays. Then there was Sky Smithson defeating Session Moth Martina, who is actually back here in the States. Good for her. In the EVE title match, Rhea O'Reilly retained against the Alpha Female. And in the main event for the EVE International title, Casey defeated Sami Zayn to become the new champion. At the AAA 2020 tour in Cancun, they had over 10,000 viewers at one point. I thought it was a good sign, but it turned out the Spanish channel had technical difficulties, so everyone was turning over to them. But still nice to have so many on the English channel at one point. Even an announcer said this could have been a record viewers for the regular show. The number was even more than a usual Impact showing on Twitch. Good for AAA. First off, we had Big Mommy team with Mr. Iguana and Atakan Chito versus Australian Suicide, Parquita Negra, and Vanilla Vargas. Nice opening match with lots of high spots from everyone, including Big Mommy, who won with a second rope splash onto Parquita. Next up we had Dinastia with Lady Shani and Nino Hamburguesa versus Kyra, Lady Maravilla, and Viano III Jr. This was an okay match, kind of slow between the six, with Viano hitting an inverted 450 splash for the win on Dinastia. After the match, the Lucha Bros came out to hype up their match against the OGTs later on. They came out as the OGTs then came out and started to beat down the Lucha Brothers till Psycho Clown came out to help. Then there was Hilo de la Park with LA Park Jr. versus Carta Brava Jr. and Mocha Coda Jr. Another Rudos on Rudos match. It was a good match with Hilo de la Park hitting a power driver on Coda for the win. Then there is Hilo del Vikingo, Mr. C's Jr., and Atagan Jr., who are the AAA Trios champions. But for some reason, Mr. C's doesn't have a title yet. I don't think because he won it with the other two. They faced the Hydra, Rey Scorpion, and Tejano Jr. Near the end, Vikingo hit a tope con hilo onto Atagan by mistake, landing in the crowd. Another great view. Giving Tejano and the Scorpion time to hit a second rope powerbomb of Mr. C's Jr. and a Magic Killer for the easy win. This was an outstanding match between all six. After the match, Australian Suicide came out to hit Vikingo with a chair, and all four beat him down. I'm not sure if he's part of their group or just wants a trios match against the six. Against the champions. Then there was Psycho Clown teaming with the Lucha Brothers against Averno, Chessman, and Superfly, other than the OGTs. Of course, they jumped the bell going after the Lucha Bros once they hit the ring, and Psycho Clown took his sweet time with his fire hands and the crowd and the lights and all that other good stuff. This was a good match, only to end on a lame note. Averno hit a low blow on a flying pentagon, then taking his mask off for the easy win with Tarantais with the fast count. Another Rudo's ending, what can I say? In the main event, it was Blue Demon Jr., Laredo Kid, and Drago replacing Psycho Clown versus Bestia Del Ring, LA Park, and Roosh. This was a brutal match with the faction using a Coca-Cola chest on all the wrestlers, power bombing Blue Demon through it even. Laredo Kid spit water in LA Park's face, which he did not like. For real, I mean, it looked like real heat. During the match, Psycho Clown and the Lucha Brothers came out to distract the faction to turn the tide of the match for a while. After a couple chair shots on Blue Demon and Drago, the faction got an easy pin on both men. Bestia took Drago's mask and Laredo Kid's. Got stretched out after the Coca-Cola cooler beat him, which means it didn't break and it was a hard spot. Thank you again to the Twitch crew, plus Adrian and Bernardo for announcing and even laughing at one of my messages during the show. Justice Renato having a table ringside with a Coca-Cola cooler near him at their next show, hopefully on March 21st, which is their Rated Ray show, which is their first major show of the year, with the likes of Kenny Omega versus Laredo Kid, the Lucha Bros versus the Rascals for the AAA tag titles, and their usual cast of characters. Next up, we had the Stardom No People Gate live on YouTube in an empty arena, and Jushin Thunder Liger on commentary, which was very surprising and very cool to see. It started off with a battle royal with the likes of AZM, Captain Stardom, Death Yomo-san, Hina, Konami, Layla Hirsch, Mima Sumada, Momo Nakanishi, Natsu Sumira, Rina, Raku, Saya Ida, Saya Kamatina, Starlight Kid, Tam Nakano, and the winner, Super Strong Starlight Machine, who actually dressed up like the Super Machines in a mask. Kind of cool to see from the retro era. She won a match then after against Nasaku Tora, who defeated her easily. In a tag team match, Tokyo Cyber Squad, consisting of Hana Kimura and Jungle Koana, defeated Donna Del Mondo of Julia and Maika. That was the match of the night. In the Goddess of Stardom's title match, Odate, consisting of B. Priestley and Jamie Hayter, defeated Queen's Quest of Momo Watanabe and Utami Hayashishida. In the Lumberjack match, Mayu Iwatani defeated Saka Kashima. After the match, in a funny moment, Mayu was addressing the crowd, but there was no crowd until Liger yelled out a cheer, only for Mayu to be most appreciative. That was great. Just to have Liger yell out, "Yay!" It is very cool. It is still live on YouTube. It is still up on YouTube if you'd like to check it out on Stardom. I just lost it. No People Gate. Look it up. It actually is a good show. Next up was the Tokyo Yoshi Pro Shuffle Unit Battle by Color, Red, Blue, Yellow, Big Clash in the Dojo. The first 3 matches are on YouTube and were only live during the YouTube show. The format for the Dojo show is a 3-team tournament with each wrestler placed in a team depending on their costume colors. If you watch it, you'll understand what I mean. Each match is worth 2 points for a win, 1 point for a draw. If at the end of the tournament there was a tie, there is a bonus 1 count fall match, which will take place. The winning team got day passes to the Osakusa Hinayashika amusement park. Kind of funny to me that they're fighting for amusement park tickets. Team Red consisted of Soko Nakajima, Mayu Watanabe, Miyu Yamashita, Maki Ito, Mazuka, Yuka Ono, Mina Shirakawa, and Team Blue was Hyper Misio, Una Manaz, Hikaru Inoue, Yuka Kamafuku, My Hero Kaira, Mira Mayoma, and Sina Shora. For Team Yellow, Yuka Sakazaki, Rika Tatsuyama, Natsuyama Maki, Nodaka Tenma, Raiku, Pam Harajuku, and Suzumi. I pronounce this best I can. Sorry if I butchered them. I'll just say the yellow team won with a score of 6-4 to 4. After winning the tickets, it appears Sakazaka wanted to give it to her usual tag team partner, who was on another team. And let's just say the rest did not enjoy that, and it was turned into a melee, all trying to fight for the tickets in her hand. Funny ending. I wish I knew more about the show. There's no English translation and no graphics, it's a simple, standard house show, pretty much to me. But it's still a fun event. If you get to watch the whole card, please enjoy it. Next on to the WXW 16 Karat Gold Tournament. Day 1. It consisted of Mike Bailey defeating Chris Ridgway. Jurgen Simmons defeating Lucky Kid. The Rotation defeating Puma King. Eddie Kingston defeating Daniel Makabe. Bandito defeating Julian Prince. Segura Uri defeating Black Taurus. Yes, Black Taurus was in England, or Germany I should say. Jeff Cobb defeated Alexander James. And Cara Noir defeating Marius Ani by referee's decision. And the WXW World Tag Team match. Absolute Andy and Jay Skillett defeated the Pretty Bastards of Maggot and Prince Ahura to become new tag team champions. Night 2, Cara Noir defeated Jeff Cobb. Surprising there. Eddie Kingston defeated the Rotation. The JA Tag Team Wildcard Gauntlet match. The Young Guns defeated Avalanche and Black Taurus. Chris Ridgway and Scotty Davis. And DJ Hyde and Levano. In the quarterfinal match, Mike Bailey defeated Bandito. Juro Simmons defeated Shakira Iri. In the WXW Unified World Title versus career match, Bobby Guns defeated David Starr. So no more David Starr, I guess, in WXW. On night 3, in the semifinal match, Mike Bailey defeated Jurgen Simmons, and Cara Noir defeated Eddie Kingston. Another surprising match there. In the WXW Women's Title match, Amelie retained against Stephanie Mays. In a tag team match, Timothy Thatcher and Yuki Ishikawa defeated Daisuke Ikada and Walter, of all people. In the WXW Shotgun Title 3-way match, Alexander Wolf became new champion, defeating champion Avalanche and Ilya Dragunov. In a six-man tag match, Bandito teamed with Jeff Cobb and Julian Prince, defeating Black Taurus, Hector, and Puma King. And in the tournament final match, Cara Noir defeated Mike Bailey. So your Progress champion is the WXW 16 Karat Gold tournament winner. In the WXW Now Showcase, for the British Empire Shooting Star title match, Lexa Volo defeated Kat Von Cage. In a CZW World Heavyweight title match, Joe Gacy defeated Anthony Green. They were actually over in Germany. In the Rising title match, Nick Lenders defeated Luca Da Pazza. In the Ambition 12 tournament, Chris Ridgway defeated Daniel Makabe. Yes, this was a long weekend for all these guys. In the WXW We Love Wrestling feature event, in a four-way match, Scotty Davis defeated Anthony Green, Daniel Makabe, and Russ Taylor. In a singles match, Maris Alaani defeated Chris Ridgway. In a tag team match, Killer Kelly defeated Stephanie Mays. And Killer Kelly and Stephanie Mays defeated Baby Allison and Valkyrie. Alexander James defeated Joe Gacy. WXW World Tag Title match, Absolute Andy and Jay Skillett defeated the Young Guns, Ethan Allen and Luke Jacobs, to retain their titles. And Walter in the main event defeated Shigeru Irie. Long weekend for those guys. And with some of those names, hopefully most of them are back in the States if they are wrestling. In the Rev Pro Risky Business 2020 show from the 7th, the Legion, consisting of Gideon Gray and the Great O'Karan, defeated Kenneth Halfpenny and Sean Jackson. A 6-man tag match, Michael Oku, Ricky Knight Jr., and Robbie X defeated Carlos Romo, Dan McGee, and Matt Kurt. In a singles match, Mark Haskin defeated Sean Custom. And in the main event, it was Jay Lethal defeating Shota Umino. I know Jay Lethal is back in the States. In the Rev Pro She's All That 2020 event, Shakira defeated Lana Austin. In a tag team match, Jade and Nightshade defeated the Medusa Complex of Charlie Evans and Millie McKenzie, who are their champions. In the Rev Pro Undisputed British Women's title match, Giselle Shaw retained against Little Miss Roxy. In the Rev Pro Lethal Weapon show, Millie McKenzie defeated Charlie Evans. Dan McGee and Mad Kurt defeated Kyle Fletcher and Shota Umino. Mark Haskins defeated Clark Connors. In a non-title match, Ricky Knight Jr. defeated Jay Lethal. In a tag team match, El Phantasmo and Helico defeated Dan Maloney and Robbie X. And in a non-title main event, Michael Oku defeated Carlos Romo. At least Romo got to finish out the show. And finally, last but not least, since it may be the last indie show for some time, The World on GCW from March the 12th. The show started off with owner Brett Lauderdale with almost all the performers in the ring saying no one knows what is going to happen in the weeks or months to come, thanking everyone for coming out or tuning in to the show, shouting out support to all other fight promotions like AIW, Black Label Pro, All of Chicago including Freelance, CZW, and PWG. But they were going to put on one heck of a show no matter what, since all the talent said they would be there hell or high water, pretty much. Champion Ricky Shane Page defeated Ruckus in a 9-title match. Hard match between these two. Ricky Shane won, hitting a two chokeslam backbreaker called a chokebreaker for the win. Adrian Quest was against Tony Deppen in a match that I thought would steal the show, but was stopped by the referee early on when Deppen flew through the ropes, hitting the wooden stage at the venue, busting the back of his head open. He seemed to be okay. He was there at the end of the show when the owner came out to talk to the crowd again. Next up, we had Effie versus Matthew Justice. A solid mini hardcore match with Matthew hitting a balcony splash onto Effie, laying on a door, held up by chairs. It is a crazy awesome visual. I'm sure you could find it somewhere on Twitter or YouTube or GIF or whatever, but look up Matthew Justice versus Effie and you'll see what I'm talking about. And the 6-man scramble match was Jimmy Lloyd against Save Al Sabah, KTB, Steve Sanders, AJ Gray, and Sanchez. It was a nice match with AJ Gray landing a side slam on Sanders to win. Next was Young, Dumb, and Broke versus 44.OH. It was a good match until Nick Gage came out to beat everyone up with a chair and anything else he couldn't get his hands on. Since he stayed in the ring talking his mouth off, his opponent Ophidian came out. So some of the match went outside and could not be fouled visually, which sucked. But Ophidian did a running balcony, which they claim is 30 feet, plancha cannonball onto a standing Gage. Another great visual. After being suplexed through after being suplexed to a hard wooden door. Gage ended up winning a wild match with a second row pile driver through yet another door. In the main event was Joey Janela versus my favorite Blake Christian. This would be Little Jimmy's worst match and my two favorite wrestlers around right now. In an awesome match, Blake hit his Aaliyah splash for the win. Blake might have injured his ankle after a short double stomp from the railings going up the stairs, but they both gave their all, going through doors after a Spanish fly from the stage, a brain buster on the bar, and much more. Great show between these guys. Only time will tell if Blake Christian's headed to the TVs or going to stay on the NE circuit, which is pretty nice for him right now. It was a good show by GCW, and only time will tell if the upcoming shows will go on. They want them to. I'm sure they will do their best to do so. All depending on the government, pretty much. Then yesterday at CMLL, I actually kind of figured out how to pay attention to this one. Atlantis Jr. and Flyer defeated Hijo del Villion the Third and Templario to become Mexican Tag Champions of CMLL. Now I know who won because I know of Templario and Atlantis Jr. So congrats to those two. Some side notes from around wrestling. Project Monix, real name Patrick Daly, on the 9th of March gave an update about his wrestling career. It is going to be shortened due to concussion symptoms he is dealing with. He hopes to put he feels a need for closure and to be able to put on and move on happily. He hopes to have a final match this summer in Chicago. Hopefully he can, and I hope you all can make it, because like a wise man once said, we are all going to make it. So good luck to Project Monix and his life going on and to end his career the way he wants it. And it looked like Kylie Ray missed last weekend's freelance show because she was at the Impact tapings in Atlanta last weekend. So watch out for her in the weeks to come. She might not be on TV, she might be in Explosion or what have you, but she was in Atlanta for Impact. Around Wednesday, Will Ospreay put out on Twitter he would like to get his friends together and put on a show like he used to do back in the day and put it on YouTube. Well, surprise, surprise, he got it done. I will read what I found out. Subscribe to Wrestle Talk as they will be hosting a show on Monday, March 16th at 7 p.m. GMT time and 2 p.m. Central Time, free on YouTube. Go and buy your Support Wrestling Screw Coronavirus t-shirt right now. They have a link on the site. And support the wrestling industry. All proceeds from the t-shirt will directly support wrestlers and crew. Will Ospreay and Wrestle Talk present Wrestle Talk Showcase No Fans Monday. Are you excited for this show? I know I am. Yes, I am too. Comment about which match is your favorite. In conjunction with Will Ospreay, Wrestle Talk will be hosting Wrestle Talk Showcase No Fans Monday this Monday, March 16th, 2 p.m. Central Time. You can see it all free on YouTube with all proceeds donated during the stream going directly towards the wrestlers and crew that will work the show for free. You will get to see top stars such as David Starr, the OJMO, Caleb Newman, Nathan Cruz, Rampage Brown, and for the first time ever, get this, Will Ospreay versus his girlfriend, Bea Priestley. How nuts is that? Support wrestling, screw coronavirus. I advise everyone to try and watch the show as best they can. I know some of you, it's live here in the States, will be during work, if you can even go to work, I don't know. But I'm happy they're trying to do something for the independent wrestling industry. Also, I caught today, Freelance will be hosting a weekly live streamed event in conjunction with IWTV from the Freelance Wrestling Academy in the Pro Wrestling Tees warehouse here in Chicago. The idea is simple. Wrestlers will wrestle, and the fans at home can donate money to each specific wrestler through a PayPal link as their match is happening. Kind of like a pro wrestling telethon. Most people on the independents work a normal job as well as wrestling, but some, this is it for them. If there's no shows, there's no money. It may not be much, but it's allowing these guys and girls an opportunity to make some money rather than just sitting at home waiting. No information on what days and times it will be streamed, so keep your eye on the Catch, Hook, and Shoot social media pages. I will let Tom know about the updates. In the meantime, go over to ProWrestlingTees.com and support these indie guys and girls by buying some more merch. Thank you all. That's a wrap for me till next week, where I recap the Ospreay show, and I have no clue what else after that. With the lot being canceled or postponed, no one knows if their show will go on. So till next time, take care, be safe, be sensible, people. This is not the end of the world where you have to hoard everything around you and let the ones struggling find nothing in the shelves. But most important of all, enjoy what you love, because you just never know when the unthinkable can come about. Thank you for watching and listening. Hope you enjoyed the cut. Remember and support any indie company or wrestler you can, when you can, specifically during these odd times. Happy wrestling, everyone, and back to you, Tom.
All right, thanks a lot, Charlie. And also, just as kind of a footnote to Charlie's report there, he did message me after he finished recording the indie cut for this week that AAA and CMLL now have announced that they're going to be postponing events. AAA's next event, I believe it was next Sunday, they have postponed. So yeah, this is it's hitting everywhere, and it's it's crazy. Yeah, talking about things being canceled and all of that because of the COVID-19 virus. That's going to bring us into our next segment of the show, and I am talking about the Troll of the Week. Alright, so this week's Troll of the Week is the COVID-19 virus. I'm sorry, it is making everybody's lives hell. It is causing people to miss work. It's causing kids to miss school. It's spreading like crazy all over the world, and it's just being a general nuisance. And so I think this is the first time I'm giving Troll of the Week to something that is not a human being, but it's insane. And like I said, it's caused basically all sports to shut down. It's just crippling, especially like indie wrestling, because those events and those promotions and those wrestlers, it's not like WWE where where the wrestlers are still going to get a paycheck if they miss, or if they have to cancel some events and things like that. This is what these people do for a living, and if they don't work, they don't get paid, and it's just it's insane. And even besides wrestling, it's causing just people in general to lose their minds. And and I'm being sarcastic, of course, but if any of you guys have tried to go to a grocery store in the last 2-3 days, it's ridiculous. I mean, the shelves are bare. People are stockpiling stuff like it's World War III, and so it's just it's causing people to just act irrationally, and there's enough there's enough rational fears to have when it comes to something like this without going overboard with it. And it's all all around this virus that has spread its way from Asia to Europe to the US and pretty much all points in between. So, the Troll of the Week this week is the COVID-19 virus, for just making everybody's lives a living hell the last several weeks, and especially in the last week when, things seem to really hit the fan. So, and guys, don't go on social media talking about, oh, I'm making a joke about it. I'm not. I'm just trying to lighten the mood here. It is a very serious situation, and hopefully it's one that can be contained and controlled sooner rather than later. And like I said, the canceling of events, the closing of arenas, the closing of businesses, and telling people to stay at home, it's all preventative. It's all trying to be proactive and just slow down the spread of this, because it is spread from person to person. So the best way to slow it down is to stop having large gatherings of people where it can be transmitted to hundreds, if not thousands, of people in one fell swoop. So stop and think about it for a little bit. It makes sense what's going on. But as far as me saying COVID-19 is troll of the week, I'm just trying to lighten the mood, guys. That's all it is. Don't take it too seriously, all right? But so that's troll of the week for this week. So let's move into something a little bit more fun, and I am talking about my new favorite part of the show, where I get to play armchair quarterback, or armchair arm dragger, as it were, and I am talking about the Fantasy Booker. So this week for the Fantasy Booker, I already talked about one of the guys in the matchup that I put together. I talked about Jake the Snake Roberts and his new client Lance Archer, and his opponent for the Fantasy Booker this week, Aleister Black. I think these two would put on a very, very interesting match, but more so than a match, I think the two of these guys could have a very interesting program, because they both kind of have that dark, brooding personality. Both have very good psychology inside the ring. I mean, Jake obviously the best ever in that category, but Aleister Black very good in his own right. Aleister Black very martial arts driven, so to speak, with his wrestling style, and Jake is very deliberate, very cerebral. So definitely a clash of styles there, and I think personality wise, I think the two of them could just give some amazing promos for, and I'm talking about this could be like an extended feud, like over several months. And in my opinion, these two guys would put on an amazing show in the ring, and possibly even more amazing show on the microphone, just with the promos that they could cut against each other. So that is the Fantasy Booker for this week. Aleister Black versus Jake the Snake Roberts. Probably never going to happen, but it's fun to think about, like I always say. So, rolling right along, we're going to get into the last segment of the show this week, and where I give kind of a not too popular opinion, and that segment is the Weekly Hot Take. My hot take for this week is the super kick has become a meaningless move, and that's okay. You look at moves that back 10, 15, 20 years ago were considered finishers. Moves like the super kick, moves like a DDT, like a power bomb, pile driver, things like that. And that today they're just kind of transitional moves. It's the evolution of business. You take it back even further. You go back to the beginnings of professional wrestling as we know it today, in the early part of the 20th century. You go back to those days. A vertical suplex was a finisher. A body slam was a finisher. A drop kick was a finisher. And of course, wrestling evolved, and those moves became just part of people's everyday move set. And you had moves come along like the pile driver, or like the power bomb, or the super kick, and these were new innovative moves, and not a lot of people did them, and so when you saw them, it was special, and it usually meant the end of the match. Well, it's not the case anymore. The super kick today is the equivalent of yesterday's body slam. everybody does it. Everybody's got their own version of it or whatever. I mean, probably the most well-known currently in the business is the Young Bucks with the super kick party, and it's a transitional move now, and same thing with like the DDT and the power bomb. Like I said, the even something as crazy as the Canadian Destroyer is now not a guaranteed finish of a match, which to me is nuts because that is one of the best looking finishers I have ever seen in wrestling. Period. But everybody seems to have a version of it, and everybody tries to do it a little bit better and a little bit crazier and put their own kind of spin on it, and so there's not a lot of innovation when it comes to finishers in wrestling anymore. And it's just because pretty much everything's been done. I mean, you're not going to see new wrestling holds or moves being invented too often anymore. But, like I said, that's okay. It's the evolution of the business. It's become, how do people use those moves? Some of them are overused to the point of being just almost making them stale. And again, I'll mention the super kick. I mean, it's rare to see any wrestling match anywhere now that doesn't involve at least one super kick from somebody in the match. That to me is overkill. It's kind of made the move kind of stale, and it's not special anymore. It used to be, when Shawn Michaels was in the corner stomping his foot, you knew that match was either about to end or Shawn Michaels was going to get his head taken off because the person was going to block it or dodge it and whatever. But you knew a high point of the match was coming, and it revolved around that super kick. Now, not so much. So it's the evolution of the business. It is what it is. You either keep up with it or you get left behind, like a lot of bitter fans have been. If you just take a look on social media, you'll see what I mean. But yeah, so the wrestling business is ever changing and ever evolving, guys, and I'm sure at some point it's going to revert back to, and in some cases it has. I mean, you look at Bayley with her her finish, the belly-to-belly suplex. Who else does that now? Back in the day, you saw like Magnum TA, that was his thing, and Rick Steiner used it as a finisher for a little while, and so that's a very old school type finisher, and I like that it is used as a finisher, and you really don't see too many people kick out of that one. So that is a true finisher, and it's unique to Bayley. I mean, it's not a new move. It's not an innovative move. It's a move that's been around since the beginnings of pro wrestling. But, it's a cool throwback, and, it works, and it's over. So that's the most important thing. Let's be honest, that the move is over. So, yeah, I'm sure we're going to see, at some point, certain things start reverting back like that, but yeah, that like I said, it is what it is. The super kick has become meaningless and stale to a certain extent, and that's okay. It's the evolution of the business, guys. You gotta kind of roll with the punches. So that's gonna do it for Catch, Hook, and Shoot for this week. I hope everybody is staying safe and staying well, and take the precautions you're supposed to take. I mean, everybody says the best thing you can do is avoid large crowds to avoid the spread of the virus, and make sure you keep your hands washed and don't touch your face, and it's common sense stuff, guys. It really is. And yeah, so like I said, hope everybody's staying well and staying safe. I'll end the show like I always do. For all you out there, make sure you're letting the people in your life that are close to you, let them know how important they are, show them how important they are, and don't ever take the important people in your life for granted, because you never know what's going to happen. Tomorrow's not guaranteed, as JR likes to say. So yeah, just if there's issues, if there's drama, just say you're sorry and move on. Put the pride away, and say you're sorry, move forward, and just let everybody, let the people in your life know how important they are to you. So with that, I am going to sign off. I hope everybody has a great, healthy week. I know here in Chicago and all over Illinois, the kids are out of school for the next 2 weeks. as one of those precautionary measures, and a lot of people are working from home and things like that. And for the most part, it's been fairly fairly a fairly easy transition, I guess, for most people, except for the lunatics that have been cleaning out all the grocery stores. I mean, they say the biggest thing, avoid large crowds, and then everybody crowds into their nearest grocery store. So kind of a little bit counterproductive there. But anyway, with that, I hope everybody has an awesome week. Hopefully we have some wrestling on TV this week. Even if there's no live crowd there, I guess we'll have to wait and see. But if there is, enjoy it. If not, find your favorite pay-per-view on WWE Network and, enjoy some wrestling that way. But either way, have a great week. Enjoy whatever wrestling you can find, and I will talk to you guys soon.